I was standing at the kitchen counter, hands trembling as I stared at the trash bin where my carefully prepared oatmeal now lay in a soggy heap. At 72 years old, I'd learned to swallow a lot of indignities, but this morning felt different. "What use are you, old woman?" Melissa's voice still echoed in my ears, sharp as broken glass. My son David had married her 3 years ago, and I'd moved into their home shortly after, when my arthritis made living alone impossible. I told myself things would get better. I told myself she was just stressed. I told myself a lot of lies to make peace with the reality of my situation. But that morning, as I retrieved my breakfast from the garbage, oats mixed with coffee grounds and orange peels, something inside me finally cracked. "Mom," David appeared in the doorway, briefcase in hand, ready for work. "What are you doing?" "Your wife threw away my breakfast," I said quietly, still staring at the mess. "She said I was useless." David's face tightened. "Mom, I'm sure she didn't mean." "She meant it, David." I finally looked at him, really looked at him, and saw the conflict in his eyes. "And you know she did." He opened his mouth, closed it, then checked his watch. "I have to go. We'll talk about this tonight, okay?" He left, just like he always did. I cleaned up the mess, made fresh oatmeal, and ate it alone at the kitchen table while Melissa laughed on the phone in the living room, making plans with her friends. The house my late husband Frank and I had worked 40 years to build had been sold to help with David and Melissa's down payment on this place. I had nowhere else to go. That's when my phone rang. "Mrs. Elena Patterson." The voice was professional, female, slightly rushed. "Speaking." "This is Janet Morrison from First National Bank. I'm calling regarding account number ending in 4782. Are you aware of the recent activity on this account?" I frowned. "I'm sorry, I don't recognize that account number." "It's a joint savings account opened in 1983 with Frank Patterson. You're listed as the surviving account holder." My heart stopped. Frank had died 4 years ago. I thought we'd closed all his accounts. "Mrs. Patterson, are you there?" "Yes, I didn't know this account still existed." "Well, it does, and it's been accruing interest for quite some time. However, we've noticed some unusual activity in the past week. Someone attempted to access the account with a request to transfer funds. We flagged it as potential fraud since the signature didn't match our records." "Transfer funds? How much money are we talking about?" There was a pause. "Mrs. Patterson, the current balance is $847,000. The kitchen tilted. I gripped the table. That's impossible." "I assure you it's quite real. Mr. Patterson made regular deposits until 2019, and with compound interest over 4 decades, the amount has grown substantially. I'm calling because we need you to come in and verify your identity and to discuss the attempted access. Can you come to our downtown branch today?" I agreed in a daze and hung up. $847,000. Frank, you beautiful, secretive man. My husband had been a simple man, a postal worker who loved his crossword puzzles and Sunday drives. We'd lived modestly, saved carefully, but I never imagined. How had he hidden this from me? Why had he hidden it? Then it hit me, the attempted transfer, the signature that didn't match. My hands shook as I opened my laptop, the one luxury I'd insisted on keeping when I moved in. I pulled up the estate documents from Frank's death. Everything had been straightforward. Our joint checking account, his small pension, the house. But I'd let David handle most of the paperwork. I'd been drowning in grief and trusted my son completely. Had David found out about the account, no, he would have told me, unless... I heard Melissa's footsteps approaching and quickly closed the laptop. "Still here," she said, pouring herself coffee. "I thought you'd be hiding in your room by now." "Melissa, did David mention anything about his father's bank accounts?" Her expression flickered, just for a moment, but I saw it. Surprise, then calculation. "Why would he?" "Just wondering. I got a call from the bank about an old account." "Really?" Her tone was too casual. "What kind of account?" Just some paperwork to sort out. I stood, my breakfast forgotten. I need to go downtown today. I could drive you, she offered, and alarm bells screamed in my head. No, thank you, I'll take the bus. Her jaw tightened. Suit yourself, old woman. The bank manager, Janet Morrison, was younger than I expected, with kind eyes and an efficient manner. She verified my identity with 3 forms of ID, then led me to a private office. Mrs. Patterson, I want to show you something. She turned her computer screen toward me. This is the transfer request we received 5 days ago. It was submitted online using what appeared to be your login credentials. I stared at the screen. The request was to transfer the entire amount to an account I didn't recognize. I don't even know how to do online banking, I whispered. I suspected as much. We require physical signatures for accounts of this size, and when the submitted documents came through, our fraud detection team noticed the signature was digitally copied from other documents. Quite sophisticated, actually, but not sophisticated enough. Who submitted it? The request came from an IP address registered to a home in Riverside Heights. Does 428 Maple Drive mean anything to you? That was David and Melissa's address, my address now. Can you tell whose computer? Not specifically, but we've preserved all the evidence. Mrs. Patterson, I strongly suggest you file a police report. This is attempted theft. My son or my daughter-in-law, or both. I need to think, I said. Of course, in the meantime, I'm putting a complete freeze on the account. No one can access it without you physically present with 2 forms of ID. And Mrs. Patterson, your husband left a letter with us. He updated his instructions in 2019, just before he passed. He said if anything happened to him, we should contact you directly about this account when you turned 72. She handed me an envelope, Frank's handwriting. I waited until I was on the bus home before opening it. My dearest Elena, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and you've just had quite a shock. I'm sorry for keeping this secret, my love. I started this account when David was born, meaning to tell you, but somehow the years slipped by. Pride, perhaps, I wanted to surprise you. Then David grew up, and I saw how he struggled with money, with choices, with Melissa. I never trusted her, Ellie. Forgive me, but I didn't. And I worried that if anything happened to me, you'd be vulnerable. This money is for you, for your independence, your security, your freedom. Don't let anyone guilt you into giving it away. Live, my darling, live the life we always planned for retirement, but never quite got to. You deserve it. Forever yours. Frank. I cried on the bus. An elderly gentleman offered me a tissue and asked if I was okay. I told him I was better than okay. When I returned home, I found Melissa in the den, working on the computer. She jumped when I entered. You're back. I am. I sat down across from her. Melissa, is there something you want to tell me? Her eyes narrowed. About what? About Frank's savings account, the one with $847,000 in it. The color drained from her face. I don't know what you're talking about. The bank has records of someone trying to transfer the money from this house, from this computer, probably. She stood up quickly. You can't prove anything. Actually, they can. It's all documented. The question is, do you want to explain yourself, or should I call the police right now? For a long moment, we stared at each other. Then she crumbled into the chair. David doesn't know, she whispered. I found the account information in some old papers you had stored. I thought you were keeping it from us on purpose. We have so much debt, Elena. The medical bills from when my mother was sick, the mortgage, my student loans. I just thought if no one knew about it, and you're old anyway. If I'm old anyway, I won't need it. She had the decency to look ashamed. I'm pressing charges, I said quietly, but I'll give you one chance. You tell David everything tonight before I do, and you both have until the end of the month to find me a nice apartment. Elena, please. That's Mrs. Patterson to you. And Melissa, I am useful. I survived 72 years, raised a son, loved a good man, and I'm not done yet. Remember that. 2 months later, I was sitting in my new apartment, a beautiful 2-bedroom in a senior community with a pool and a book club. Melissa had been arrested but received probation after agreeing to community service and counseling. David and I were slowly rebuilding our relationship, though trust would take time. I'd used some of Frank's money for the apartment, some for a financial advisor, and donated a substantial amount to a women's shelter in his name. The rest sat safely in the bank, giving me something I hadn't had in years: choices. That morning, I made myself breakfast, oatmeal with blueberries and honey, and ate it peacefully on my balcony, watching the sunrise. "Thank you, Frank," I whispered, "for everything." Somewhere I liked to think he was smiling. Because I'd learned something important: being old doesn't make you useless. Sometimes it just means you've survived long enough to finally know your worth.